I've seen all kinds of gun crimes, and I can tell you, Brian Kemp's new law is dangerous.
American politics in 2022.
I'll leave it as in Big Jim Lane.
More than 100 Republican ads, 20 from Dems, all centered around guns, giving the perception the issue of guns is divided exclusively along red and blue lines. But in a country with 120 guns for every 100 people, there are liberals who are pro-gun and conservatives who support restrictions. We spoke with 6 gun owners across America, and for each of them, the idea of America's gun culture means something different. Approximately 77 million adults own a gun in the United States. 6 in 10 say their reason for getting one is self-protection. Like Will, who asked to be identified only by his first name. His interest in firearms was renewed during the pandemic.
Part of it was self-protection. There were a lot of, not in the local area, but just surrounding areas. There were a lot of home break-ins and things like that, car break-ins. So I thought, it might be a good time, especially with my kids getting older. So I wanted to protect my family, protect my house.
There will be people who will see these ARs and will say, these are the things that are destroying America. What do you sort of think when you hear that kind of stuff?
I'm sympathetic to that. I certainly understand, especially for people who have experienced that trauma or that tragedy. I don't take my ARs out and just start flaunting it. My understanding in Maryland, there's no rule against open carry for rifles. But that doesn't mean I should just go around and flaunt it and carry it or let people know, hey, I have it. It's not what it's for me.
In some states, it's legal to openly carry weapons, including rifles, and people do. And in places like Missouri, folks say it's a way of life.
Weapons, guns is a culture out here.
Charles Kay is a recently retired Army officer who's training to be a gunsmith.
A lot of people need to go hunt in order to put food on the table. They grew up, 5, 6, 7-year-olds are learning how to shoot, learning gun safety from their parents and, who else. That's how they grew up. So, yeah, a lot of people have guns around here. That's the culture.
While Charles is skeptical of new gun laws, there are some that he supports.
I wouldn't be opposed to making everything 21. I'm not opposed to all gun transactions, having to go through a federal firearm licensed dealer of some sort.
Never gone hunting. I've barely fished. I enjoy shooting as a hobby. I enjoy shooting paper targets.
James, who also requested his last name not be used, shoots only for sport. As the son of a retired law enforcement officer, many might expect him to be an emphatic supporter of gun rights. But he believes the right to gun ownership must be balanced with responsibility.
A lot of people ask me as soon as they realize that I'm a gun owner, like, oh man, what if somebody breaks into your house? Are you going to use that? And I, sincerely looking deep down into that truthful mirror, I don't think I would. I think it would be very much a matter of call the police. I think a lot of people will get on the campaign, the rallying cry of our rights, our rights, our rights. And I think it would be more helpful for us to also consider the responsibilities attached to that.
The views about guns can vary widely depending on where you are. For example, I'm here right now in suburban Baltimore, and the views here are very different than the views in a place like where I am now, in downtown Baltimore, a place where the murder rate this year is outpacing that of last year.
I realized it was really a stress reliever. Like, I was having kids, really coming in there, wanting to fight everyone.
Alex Long, a community activist who's lost family members to gun violence, has decided to open a gym to try to lure kids off the streets and away from guns.
And by the time they left, they literally would come to me and like, man, if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably get locked up.
In a city with more than 240 homicides so far this year, guns here are easy to get.
13, 14-year-olds that will have access, and it's deliberate. Like I say, guys will come around here with cars and trucks full of firearms, and the purpose is target our youth. Where are our leaders to tackle this issue? Because these are our kids. These aren't some war-torn country or a bunch of soldiers that have been heavily trained. These are our kids, and we turned our back on them. So that's our fault. So our kids, they felt alone. They feel like they have to do it on their own. And sadly, in a lot of cases, I have to agree with them.
Alex and his partner are both gun owners, and rather than have the government focus on gun restrictions, he'd like to see more funding for programs like his that offer support for those in trouble. He's working to try to prevent the worst.
We got to get back to giving them real support. And it's not that 9-to-5 support. You may have a young man call you 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I want to kill somebody. You got to be open up to actually hear him or her and then work with them so they now hear them and understand that this ain't what I really want to do.
And is that the kind of calls? Those are the kind of calls you get?
Absolutely.
The laws around guns changed dramatically this summer when the Supreme Court struck down a New York state law that restricted a person's right to conceal carry a firearm, making it far easier now to do so. In places like Maryland, it's meant an increase in those wanting to conceal carry.
Since the Supreme Court ruling, an unbelievable explosion of people coming to get gun training.
Catherine Harrison is the president of the Maryland 10th Cavalry Gun Club, where they do more than just fire guns. The club roots its history in the Buffalo Soldier and puts a premium on educating its members about current firearm legislation.
Here in the state of Maryland, you have to have 16 hours of training. So I think most of these instructors have gone from maybe averaging 60 students a month to over 200 plus. What's most important to me, I think, is that gun owners provide or get some level of education to use their firearms, not just go out and buy one and then take it and bring it home, put it on the dresser.
Michelle Douglas, who founded the gun club, has owned a gun for 16 years.
There's a lot of guns in America, too. Is it reasonable to think that we're going to...
You're never going to get rid of the guns off the street. That ship has sailed. It's too late. There's too many guns out here on the street, and there's too many people that don't follow the rules. So lift the restrictions on people like me so we can defend our homes.
Her concern is that more gun laws would impact the wrong people, her.
I'm not the one that the government needs to put restrictions on. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I adhere to the laws. Laws are made to keep an honest person honest. It does nothing for the criminals. They don't care.
From Missouri to Maryland, some Americans believe lawmakers are protecting their right to have a gun. Others believe they're letting us down. Michelle worries about politicians stoking divisions, and like many firearms users, wants to be prepared to defend herself in case she's confronted with the violence they speak of so frequently.
One of the things that happens is like Republicans are pro-guns and Democrats are coming for your guns. Now, that may not be true, but that's kind of where... What do you think about all that?
Well, with an ex-president advocating civil violence and disobedience, my concern is, do I have enough bullets at home to defend my castle?
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.